Da-na-na-na-na.
I tried as a new way. I'm gonna show you the tricks I know. Not getting tired of talking, so I made up a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up. I know it can sound a little bit strange. Everybody is talking. You need someone ready to change. I will fight like no other. Every day I won't stop like the others. I will stay, 'cause it's the right time. I'm feeling alright, I'm flying higher, I'm ready to scream right now. Geeksvana, don't miss any highlight. There's something you may like, from side ready to fly. I'll tell her to do it right, so I'll tell her to do it right. Geeksvana, feeling alright, we're flying higher, we're gonna win tonight. We're here just for the audience. We're gonna show what you're going through. We wanna find you the perfect drone. There's no one else who can help you out. It's time that you made your mind up. I know it can sound a little bit strange. Everybody is talking. You need someone ready to change. I will fight like no other every day. I won't stop like the others. I will stay, 'cause it's the right time. I'm feeling alright, I'm flying higher, I'm ready to scream right now. It's better, don't miss any highlight. There's something you may like, from side ready to fly. I'll tell her to do it right, so I'll tell her to do it right. It's better, feeling alright, we're flying higher, gonna win tonight. It's better, it's better, it's better.
Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana Live. It's absolutely fantastic to see you all. We have been having a little bit of a sing-along in the background, not only of our wonderful theme tune, but actually of songs like Tequila, Saturday Night Live. Do we all remember Wigfield? Yes, it was one of those pre-shows tonight. Saturday Night Live. Did I say that? Sorry, my co-host in my ear is correcting me. Saturday Night by Wigfield. There you go. Sorry. It's been one of those days already. So hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. We've got a really fun show, and also there's some serious side of it too as well, which we're going to be talking through. But first of all, hi to Mudball Creative, who said by the thumbnail it looks like Geeksvana was caught with the sheep again. Just guessing from the pastoral background. I can confirm, as per my message, that no sheep were harmed in the making of this stream or that thumbnail. Philip Koshak, good to see you. Caleb Lewing, hi, good to see you as well. Andrew McQuillan, who on earth is that? Drone Viral, Jesse, good to see you, so hope you're well. Andy Keast, Elsa Meghead, Tamara Gabriel, hello, good to see you, hope you're well. Andy Keast, I already said, I'm going to say it twice, I'm going to say it 3 times. Andy Keast, hello. Mucker Mirrors, hi. Johnny DRC, Stephen, the Flyby Guys, who is currently on audio only, I believe, because he's in a very small shack in the middle of the Finnish countryside. That's enough said about that, I think. And as my co-host has shouted in my ear, tequila. There may well be some tequila involved there. Max Air 420, good to see you. Novice Quads Lawrence, hi, hello sir. Hope you're extremely well. Mike Drennan, Matt Cundiff, hi. Gene Fox, good to see you as well. Crypto Man 5000, hello sir. John French, and great to see some new names in there as well. Akarasho, hi, good to see you. Access to Paranormal, this is my favorite drone channel. Yeah, I think you're lost. I think you took a wrong turn. You ended up at Geeksvana, but thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I really do. And Philip Koshat, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker of the little man saying ha ha ha. I really do appreciate it very much indeed. And Audi S4 B7, hello to you as well. Do you know, I used to really be into Audis. I went through a stage of BMWs into Audis, back to BMWs, and now I've got a BMW, but I'm more on Jaguars at the moment, but there we go. Niall Daly, hello, good to see you. Hello from Ireland. And my co-host is saying tequila in the chat, so we'll probably have to bring him in quite soon. So welcome. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the main topic we're going to talk about in a little bit is the new UK police powers, which are now, I believe they're actually now live. And I've had a lot of messages from viewers about this, a lot of direct messages on Twitter, Instagram, emails, etc., asking what my views are on the situation and looking for some advice on things they can do. I have some very general advice. I will always say, of course, I'm not a solicitor or a barrister or anything. I'm not a legal expert, but I will give you my interpretation, and certainly the interpretation I have taken from speaking to many both of police officers and a couple of solicitors I've spoken to on this as well. So, and again, forms my opinion. We're also going to be taking a look at the specs and more of the details of the new Parrot Anafi AI drone, which is one that I have to admit, even though it looks a bit strange, I'm actually looking forward to, and I think I might be quite interested in. But we'll have a look through and see what we think. If you've got any questions this evening during the show, tag them in the chat at Geeksvana. And without any further delay, let's bring in the co-host. Hello, Mr. McQuillan. How are you, sir? I'll turn your audio on now. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good.
Can you please tell us what the word of the night is, please?
Tequila.
Tequila. Yes, indeed.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
I blame Sean.
You blame me. I blame you, frankly.
Well, I think you're out of aviation gin, aren't you?
Well, I think I am after tonight. Yeah. No. No. Actually, no. I haven't really touched the bottle. I'm not much of a drinker. I've told you this.
I think I'm 4 bottles like downwind from you from that bottle, and I was already ahead of you in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
doesn't surprise me.
Good.
And that's with another heavier drinker in the house, actually, although she's not really on the drink these days, bless her. Living with me is no longer driving her to drink quite so much as it used to. Now, Andrew McQuillan is obviously one of our co-hosts, regular co-hosts. You can see Stephen from the Flyby guys in the chat as well. He's our other normal co-host. He's in 2G, 3G area at the moment with audio only, so he wasn't able to join us this evening. At least that's what he told us. I think he just likes hanging out with his awesome wife in the Finnish countryside in a small shack. I can't think why that would be more attractive than hanging out with us. Can you, Andrew?
Nope, not at all.
No, I'm appalled, frankly. But yes, but Andrew, of course, is from Drone Masterclass, so he is one of our resident drone exports. I was about to say.
I don't remember leaving. But okay.
Yeah, that's right. With the travel ban, that's a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Apt subject. And of course, do we still call you the Drone King? I'm not sure actually, but
I mean, you titled that, so I'm not going to comment on that. I'm very shy and unassuming. So
yeah, that's
if
what
you
I
want
always
to call
think
me
of.
the king, that's
what
the matter for you.
Now, whilst we're talking about Andrew and Drone Masterclass, I will give the first shout out to one of our lovely sponsors, our partners, Drone Masterclass. You can book your A2 CofC or GVC now. Book it now. There's a link in the description as well. Sorry, one Andrew's in front of another Andrew there a little bit awkwardly. Hope he's not. You might want to move out of his way there a bit, Andrew, but a bit rude. But yes. So first up, we're going to be talking about the Parrot Anafi AI. Did you see this launch, Andrew? Did you watch live? I know you've been pretty busy with some fairly hectic stuff going on at Drone Masterclass HQ.
I mean, if they had something I was interested in, maybe, but no, not for this one.
You're not interested. You don't like it.
Oh, it's I'm sure it'll have a purpose for someone.
That's interesting, of course, because you have a lot of corporate functions, professional functions. The flying of your drone, apart from perhaps with the FPV drone, is mainly towards the work side of things.
Even if a manufacturer produces a single good drone,
Yeah,
it's the ecosystem as well for us, which will want us to,
of course,
we don't want to switch to new manufacturers because we don't really use Parrot at the moment.
Yes.
I think we have one, but we've never used it. But this, to me, I mean, this is just the world's worst Star Wars toy. I'm sorry, it just looks like I mean, look at that. Even the color scheme is like something from,
yeah, I mean,
a Star Wars planet. I mean, obviously they saw how good the DJI FPV of the volcano went, so we have to go there too.
Yeah, we have to go to Iceland
and we won't melt the drone. But I just find this just looks like a Star Wars toy that's just not officially licensed.
Yeah, I mean,
I imagine they probably tried to license it and couldn't because it's not that great looking.
Very good. I know exactly what you mean, but I mean, I'm fairly interested in this from the point of view that it's going to be light. It's going to be less than 900 grams, and of course, it has this open source software on there, etc. And I think perhaps because I'm coming from the commercial drone side of things, literally almost at the opposite end to yourself. So something like this drone could probably move my services forward quite a bit.
I mean, it's obviously akin to like Skydio and stuff in terms of autonomy and things like that. The modeling thing. I mean, when I'm watching these modeling shots here, it's not. There's lots. That model can be produced by lots of drones. So it's just the fact that they've created nice models, more saying it was something about the model processing than it is actually about the flying and capturing of that.
Absolutely.
Yes, autonomous will come in, but also as well from a C marking point of view, that's not out yet. So I'm just not that interested in something that's small, really, unless I really need it until then.
Yeah. The controller here is something that I've paused it on this just because I was a little bit disappointed to see it because I don't feel that that's particularly natural. That's a particularly natural position to have your hands in. And just a couple of bits of feedback from the chat. Yes, Elsemaker did put a very good meme together showing Sid from Ice Age next to the drone, and they did look startlingly similar. And a few people have picked that up in the chat today as well. And John French says a really bad TIE fighter from Star Wars.
It looks like Anakin was designing a racer, whatever you call those. I don't know the official name for them, and just rejected the idea. Yeah, pod racer. Yeah. It looks like the idea that he had early on and rejected.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's just the fact that it's the white contrasting with the gold and almost, I want to say green.
But it's there is something I like about it from the fact that it's formed out of function.
Also, that warehouse thing is just purely CGI. If it worked really well, why didn't you film it for real?
But yeah, which is always an issue. And I have had that issue with Parrot before with their marketing. Now, interestingly, the two cameras each side of the main camera in the middle, they're actually the I think they even called it 360 obstacle avoidance, although I'm not sure how it could be completely 360, but they spin around basically so that you can so that acts automatically as the avoidance system. It would be interesting to see how it knows when it's looking forward to avoid something, how it also knows to look behind and that type of thing, etc., which is interesting. You can see, do you see the cameras flip around there?
Yeah.
It's sort of but yeah,
basically, yes, it's 360, but with two sensors that only look one direction.
To be fair about the warehouse, this is actually showing their 3D simulator.
Okay.
To have a photorealistic 3D simulator, which isn't bad, but
Well, why didn't they do a shot of like an actual warehouse and then 3D make it and then show that it's to do the same thing?
We're not all Hollywood directors like you. Some of us are mere mortals, but yeah, you can see the cameras. There you go. They flick around. But then, why
sounds like a moving part that's unnecessary and will break.
Yeah. Well, and also a few of the feedback to my initial video that I put up yesterday on this was very much of any kind of contact with anything, this thing is going to have problems and break, etc. Why were the cameras looking behind? Are there cameras in the front ports as well? Is what I'm thinking.
Oh, it's like Jar Jar Binks, isn't it, with the stalks?
Oh, don't.
It's the Jar Jar Binks of drones.
Don't. Okay, well, we had some very interesting marketing photos.
I'd want to clean my drone if it had been there. That's just weird. Does it make the same annoying noise?
I'm not sure. Although, sorry, I was just distracted because Stephen told me to check my messages. The other co-host, which I mentioned, and I thought it was something like, the audio's squiffy or something, which would be a real unusual thing to happen for Geeksvana, wouldn't it? Really, but it was actually a sunset shot of where he is at the moment. So thanks for that, Stephen. I'm watching the show on the jetty with this view. Very nice. Thanks for making me jealous.
What's a better view, that picture or us?
Well, he's getting both, of course, which is quite nice. So we had this. Obviously, the idea is that it's supposed to be influenced by nature. So
which one do you think's the drone?
Yeah, could anybody please spot and tell me which one of these pictures is actually the drone? And then, of course, we have
that color scheme is it's the Star Wars color scheme. If they just made it gray or or blue or whatever, but it's the fact that they've used all those different colors. It's like they're trying too hard.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but again, I'm excited from the function point of view, and if it does half of what, well, not half, it needs to do 95% of what it does, frankly. I
don't like the controller because I don't think it's going to fit my.
The chat is very funny tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, I just saw that. I don't think it's going to fit my ruggedized iPhone case, and it's those sort of ones that I don't really like. I'm even struggling with the Mini 2 controller, so I just don't really. I don't want to take my iPhone out.
My first Parrot, which was my first ever drone, the Bebop, came with the very large. Do you remember have you ever seen the first Sky controller that's literally about this wide, this tall? Oh, yeah. And I got used to flying like that, but then of course when I came down to the more recent Parrot controller, and of course the DJI controllers, as a gamer, as someone that's used to playing on the sort of Xbox size controllers, it felt much more natural to me. I am concerned about that controller, I have to say, and it is a little bit off-putting. But hopefully, again, it does use Pix 4D, etc., that type of thing. So I'm hoping also.
That antenna, the patch antenna there. How directional is that?
Yes.
Does it flex? Does it move?
Yes, I have no idea. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are issues, and of course, if we look at the Skydio, which partnered with Parrot to use the Parrot controller for the Skydio, and the original Anafi controller, there are issues around controllers from that point of view. So,
are those props quick release?
No, because the original photograph showing them on there, you can actually see the screws. The original photograph showed them as being screwed on.
I mean, you could have made those quick release quite easily, unless there's a patent out from DJI.
Yeah, unless you want another court case between DJI and Otel and things. Yeah. Just very quickly, Aviana Aerial Photography, Rob Kamada, a $10 super sticker of a little flying dude. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. Do you have anything to say to that super sticker, Andrew?
I was too busy watching the pictures to see it.
I thought you might say tequila, but there you go.
Oh, tequila?
Yeah, no, too late. I'm afraid, too late.
Sorry.
Okay,
can I just? Yes. Can you pull up your picture on this?
Who, me?
Yeah, is anyone else getting distracted by the balloon dog, a balloon animal dog behind him? It's really distracting me because it's really bright blue.
I work
looks
so
like a poodle
hard.
Balloon animal.
I work so hard on this stream. It takes me literally
it does
minutes.
Look like a balloon animal dog.
Does it?
Yeah.
How about on that shot? Does it look less like a balloon animal dog now?
Yes, it does actually.
Okay. Where's the head though? Where's the? Is this
the head's that? Yeah, that's the head.
Is this the head and then the legs?
Because obviously you screw into sort of spheres when you're making those, so it looks like I'm sorry, it's very distracting.
Yeah. Well, hey.
It's a positive. It's making people watch.
Exactly. You're supposed to have entertaining things in the background. So it was either that or bikini-clad girls and muscly men dancing in the background. So but there we go. So let's have a quick look at the specs and the bump that was put out by Parrot. This is another area that I was quite interested in because they're talking about it being 4G internet connectivity connected without range limit. That's an interesting thing to say.
First of all, connected via 4G when we're on the cusp or 5G is already out, and people like Vodafone are already doing 5G connected drones.
Although
it seems a bit.
Could you not argue, just playing devil's advocate, that 4G therefore is more reliable because 5G is still a little bit too cutting edge?
Well, 5G's out. If you're in a 5G area, it's reliable. If you're within
but I've been testing a 5G device for a manufacturer for the last couple of months, as you know, and I've had issues. And it is literally absolutely incredible or nothing.
That's not their fault. That's
I
network's
know
fault.
that. I know that,
Yeah,
but obviously you can't release a drone that's going to be.
Why wouldn't you do 4G and 5G connectivity?
Yeah, no,
it just seems lack of future proofing. Unless they're going to bring out a C marked one with 5G, fair enough.
Yeah, who knows exactly. But that does concern me from the point of view the fact that it is intended to be the primary connectivity is actually
my concern with that as well is, do you remember the old marketing for quite a lot of drones?
Yes,
including DJI was like, oh, you can fly like 5 kilometers, and you're like, yeah,
yes,
you shouldn't.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like, beyond visual, that's basically like saying, oh, the FCC rating is 5 kilometers.
Yeah,
right.
But I think again they're looking at the waivers, they're looking at the future of beyond visual line of sight. I think that particular sentence is a little bit too far ahead of where we are right now. But yeah, I think they've got their head in the future with that one. A 48 megapixel camera, 4K 60 frames a second, smooth video, great. HDR10 with realistic colors is cool. The 14 EV done it with dynamic range, 6 times zoom, 1 centimeter details at 75 meters, 240 feet, which again, from a survey point of view, is pretty good, frankly, I think.
I mean, I would just caveat that we've seen other drones on the channel being talked about of late that claim they have smooth video. So just
Microdrone 4 reference. Is that our second Microdrone 4 reference of the evening? I think I'm only allowed 2 or 3 more until I have to start paying for them. So yeah, we should be careful. Paying for them in more than one way as well. Okay, so it shoots 48 megapixel at 1 frame a second, survey grade accuracy of 0.46 centimeters. Yeah, good. Embedded Pix4D. Aren't Pix4D
at 30 meters is not, but at 30 meters could be very problematic depending how you're going to use it. If you're in a 50-meter bubble, 30 meters isn't going to really help with that. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean the embedded Pix4D, obviously that is interesting. But aren't Pix4D actually part of Parrot, or aren't Parrot part of Pix4D or something? I don't know, but I mean, from my perspective, we're a drone deploy user more so at the moment. Yes. So if that locks out from using drone deploy, that's another tick in the box of not buying it. Yeah, I don't know if it locks it out, but I know that it's certainly. I think that's more where the open source side of things comes into it. Cyber security by design. Just go up. Is that what they mean by 4G above? It's 4G upload to Pix4D. No, is that what they mean? This is 4G connected? No, as far as I understand, the main transmission between the drone and controller is actually via 4G. That is the intention of this drone. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. And as CryptoMan 5000 say, Pix4D is open source, he thinks, and I agree with you. I believe it is. Cyber security by design, no data shared by default, stronger authentication for 4G. Okay. And compliance on a few things there. So the key thing here is they're trying to say is we're better than DJI at protecting. I do still remember the Anafi USA video where they actually talked about DJI for a good 25 minutes during that launch, and I was a little bit sort of cringy from the point of view that selling your strengths, not on people's weaknesses. Yeah, people will pick up on that, and you can say quickly, oh, and of course the issues that other manufacturers have had, we don't have that because of XYZ, but they really went for it and sort of detailed it and showed independent reports, and that sort of annoyed me slightly, I have to say. But so the pack content, you get an Anafi drone, you get a hard case, baby. A Sky Controller 4 remote, a smart battery, a USB PD power delivery fast charger, USB-C lightning cables as you would expect, a calibration chart, which is interesting, and an additional set of. Do you think that's going to be like the Inspire 2 one, the board? Yeah, I think it must be, to be honest, which is an interesting way to go, I have to say. How do you calibrate? It's interesting in terms of the cameras that flip backwards for obstacle avoidance. Yes. How do you calibrate those? Is it in both positions or just once and then they flip? It must be. I don't know, but it must be within at least 2 positions. Interestingly, that graphic of the controller seems to suggest that it is fixed if you with where that circle is, etc., and that type of thing. But there we go. So technical specifications. We are hoping, or we're not hoping. We're told by Parrot that this is a sub 900 gram drone, and is therefore. It was mentioned in the launch video that it was therefore hopefully compliant with EASA and worldwide regulations from the point of view of being able to get C ratings and that type of thing, which is interesting before the C ratings are actually out. But yeah, I mean, if it is, that's very exciting, I have to say. If this was to be C rated, though, I think it would probably be C2. I'm not sure we'd get the 80 joules.
but it is under 9.
Well,
because
the lack
it's
of
either or,
switches,
isn't it, actually?
Yeah, I mean, again, I would just caveat for the retrospective stuff. I didn't see a speed switch in the controller. It didn't look too hard, but so is there one?
It's a very good point. I don't know. I'll bring up the thing. Actually, there are quite a few buttons.
But it has to be a physical. You know what I mean? It's going to have to be.
I think
a slider or something. So
I think when I saw the zoom in, I think I did see one actually. Not
say under. Is it under this bit here? Does it say? Oh, Sky Controller 4, bottom left.
Up here, down here.
No, bottom left.
Up. Sorry, couldn't resist.
Blah 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 blah. 600 grams. Not okay. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, no mention of it. No mention of a.
Oh no, it goes to the next column.
Does it?
I have to teach you how to read. But she doesn't mention anything about the switches on it, which is a bit odd. You think you mentioned on, there's a record button on it.
Yeah, they did mention in the launch video about it, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But
the cybersecurity thing, one thing that would actually help them from a law enforcement point of view is getting UK Cyber Essentials certified for the drone to say it's secure.
Yes.
That would actually really help for buying and selling into the government of the UK, and there's European standards in that as well. So I think that would help them, but obviously they haven't done that. They just said it's got cybersecurity credentials, but that's like me saying, that's like anyone saying I've got cybersecurity credentials to an extent.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, there's the control. There are a few buttons. Perhaps you can now. I don't know about, because obviously the UK standards aren't out yet. I don't know whether you can have a programmable button, so a button can become the slow mode, or does it actually have to say slow mode on the controller?
I think it has to be a physical button for that purpose.
Yeah, I think it has to be a specific one, doesn't it? Which is why they're thinking the tripod, obviously on the DJIs, the tripod mode and that type of thing might
yeah, I think it's going to have to be. I think everyone's going to have to do a slider between normal and this. I don't think it's going to be a switchable through an app. I think it needs to be a hardware solution, because I think it's mentioned as a hardware thing. So I don't think it'll have to be a button, because then that involves to have the app active. I think it needs to be able to be done without the app.
Okay, so we don't have a released price yet. Is that stage of contact us type thing? We're hoping to have the price details. Yeah,
that old gimmick for drone companies. If you want to come and contact us.
Yeah, talk to us, because we can't get the chips to build them anyway.
I'd be hopping mad.
I'm thinking that's probably going to be
I'd be hopping mad if they said that. Grasshopper? No, hopping mad. No.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for killing the show. I'm thinking it's got to be around Skydio money, from the point of view of being competitive with that kind of product.
I just think some of those flaws that I talked about, like the 4G and stuff, and their attempt at AI, I think maybe this is a stepping stone. Maybe this is more of a market research exercise than it is actually a drone launch, just to sort of go down, because I mean the industrial use is where the money's going to be.
Yep.
And that's what sees.
Well, the Skydio is arguably the biggest marketing campaign ever for the Skydio.
Yeah, but I
AI,
just think this is a generation of new tech.
Yeah,
they're testing out with the consumer market more so.
Absolutely.
And I just think it just feels to me gimmicky. It doesn't feel like this is a. It doesn't feel like this is a finished product in that sense.
I know what you mean. I'm not still going to definitely get one.
It just feels like
if
this
it's within a certain range.
Will it work with sensors to flip over? Will that save money and weight? That's right. We'll see if they like it.
That kind of thing really does sort of interest me in terms of it is sort of supposed to be a 360 type of obstacle avoidance, but obviously those cameras can only be looking at one thing. Well, not one thing. They can only be looking at one plane at a time. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that works. I look forward to some of the technical side of things as well. So it'd be very interesting, because I'm still a fan of the Anafi consumer drone, and that was like a little sports car in the skies. Frankly, it was a very adaptable little drone. Just the transmission let me down a few times, which is why I then switched to the Mini 2 personally. But I'm excited for it.
The problem is, like, the thermal version of things hasn't been that widely received in the positive terms by emergency services and things. It's not like that. But it's not a case of them having a problem with that drone, as far as I'm aware. It's more of a case of it just doesn't compare to like an M300 with the H220T, or quite frankly the newest DJI Enterprise. On that basis, that's probably why you got the new Enterprise, was because of that sort of attempt at the market. I just feel like Parrot are always trying to push boundaries and push something new out, which doesn't mean it's it works. I think they're just testing things all the time.
Exactly, and they are within a very different cycle now as far as their business model, obviously leaving consumer drones, etc., and going in that direction. So okay, so that's it with the Parrot Anafi AI. We're going to take a little bit of a let's say breather, but we're going to take a little bit of a palate cleanser now and have a
tequila.
Have a viewer video. Tequila. Have a viewer video whilst we go and sing tequila in the background. This one is from our good friend Lawrence over in New York, otherwise known as Novice Quads, and this is a really fantastic video. And this is actually the South Channel Bridge in Queens, New York. Enjoy. Very
tequila.
Cool. Tequila. Very cool. Thank you very much for letting us share that, Lawrence. I really do appreciate it.
I love that. I just love. I love the silver contrast without everything. It's just
it was a really good video, and it was great editing, and it shows how much Lawrence is getting. I did ask him in the chat. It is the DJI Air 2S and how much he's getting to grips with it. I absolutely love that drone. Frankly, it is absolutely fantastic, and the footage you can get from it is really incredible. It is very, very capable.
It's just this nice color palette there of the silver, the sort of yellowy, grey, brown rusting bridge, the blue of the ocean, and those vivid colors from the houses and stuff, and the mill pond nature of the water. It's just lovely.
Little time lapse thing in the middle as well, showing the bridge coming around and everything else like that. I think it's really cool. It's interesting with the boat as the center part of the bridge, isn't it? Sort of from an engineering perspective as well.
I actually thought it was a barge underneath it at one point, because it's very boaty shaped.
Oh yes, no, indeed. Well, it clearly was a boat originally. Now, David Hall, you in the chat said, you typed in the chat that you've driven that train on Xbox. I too have actually driven that train on Xbox as well. which Andrew wasn't very impressed about, were you?
I mean, if you want to go down this route, tell them what other simulators you have.
Oh, now we don't need to go along those kind of
No,
lines, do we? Yeah, this is the man who was on national TV for having a simulator in his garage.
That's different.
Why is it different?
Because it's a full-scale Airbus A320 fixed-base simulator.
Yeah, but that's the same as me playing Farming Simulator, surely.
Do you have a tractor?
No, I do not. Well, how would you do that for Farming Simulator? I'd have to have like several of them, like the truck, the tractor, the combine. It'll be a lot of.
I wouldn't know because I've never played Farming Simulator. The closest I've got to that is watching Jeremy Clarkson's new show,
which is pretty good actually, isn't it? I have been enjoying.
It's fantastic. I never knew half that about farming.
Yeah, do you know though they're already filming season 2 as we speak?
I'm genuinely surprised because I thought Amazon did not like it.
Really?
That's why they didn't film previously. Usually that stuff gets season 2 immediately. It doesn't wait for the statistics.
Do you not think about it was possibly more to do with COVID and things, allowing them to be able to film and that type of thing?
Well, they filmed it during COVID in the first series anyway.
Yeah, perhaps.
Plus, it's hell of a content to use COVID. Where are you going to get that again?
Yeah, indeed. But it is a fantastic show.
And the farm shop is doing
really
phenomenal. Like our new office is quite close, and the farm shop is doing phenomenal.
Yeah, people are just going down just to buy little trinkets and things, aren't they? Not even actually buy anything to do with fresh produce.
Well, I don't want to say on this because I think you'll get demonetized. I want to buy one of the candles.
Yeah, no, we'll leave that there, shall we? Okay.
If anyone's watching and you are a fan of Top Gear, old Top Gear, or Grand Tour, or Jeremy Clarkson in general, go and buy one of his candles. I'm not telling you the name.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Let's see if you were going to get me demonetized.
You need to get like an affiliate link for his candle.
That's it, exactly, yeah. And here is the Amazon Prime link for his candle. All proceeds go towards Geeksvana. Thank you very much.
Maybe you should get your own candle in a similar named vein.
I think that's how court cases start, isn't it?
We got the Microdrone 4.0 candle. Smells of.
Oh, I'm up for that. Anything that could spark a court case there is more than welcome.
Okay, it would just be an empty candle case.
Up next, we're going to talk about our main topic, which is a look at the Air Traffic Management and Unmanned Aircraft Act 2021. Now, I'm going to bring the Act up and go through a few of the steps and stages as well with regards to it. I did bring this along with me, as it did spark a bit of interest in the pre-show and also in messages to me asking if I was okay. This was actually from a previous video, where my friend,
it's a legal video.
My friend, who is an actor, pretended to arrest me for a video, which was actually the video title was "How Not to Get Arrested Whilst Flying Your Drone." So we started it off by me being arrested. So that's my good friend Chris, absolutely fantastic guy. You'll notice I've put the censored bark across my belly there because I thought that was just too much belly to show.
I told you not to be drinking tequila in the middle of the day in a park.
Pre 10 o'clock.
Never ever drink and fly. I keep telling you.
Indeed. Well, I never listen, do I? But there we go. Yeah, actually, yes, I do listen. I always listen to that. It's very, very important. Okay, so now, what is your, as someone within the industry? Obviously, you work within public safety with crowded space drones. You train drone pilots with Drone Masterclass, etc. What is your overall impression? What is your take been on this act coming into force?
I think there's two levels to all of this talk, because the first thing is we are every year we're like, oh, the drones are going to develop so much, but now we're not in. We've surpassed the bit of the technology development, and we're now going into the regulatory development to enable the technology to once again progress. And quite frankly, the purpose of all this is to use drones to make things safer or deliver benefits to people's lives. That's the two real, in my opinion, founding principles of the development of this. So this is all an enabling structure for that. Nothing's really set in stone in that respect. I mean, you've then got the sort of the point. You got the law basically starting to enable things and to start to sort of just say, right, this is what we'll do, or this is what we'll look at, and that's for example, there are traffic aspects of things and things.
Yes, absolutely.
But you've got a lot of behind that. You've got commercial companies trying to profiteer off certain things, which is understandable. And then you've got the bit that's really what some people try and say is the hidden bit behind a lot of this new powers, which is the police bit.
Yes.
But with any new use of any technology, there is always an element of having to regulate it. And I don't think people accept that the police or some minor groups that talk terrible things on YouTube channels want to attack the police for doing their job and their statutory function. So there's always, no matter what technology it is, no matter what vehicles it is or anything, there's always people who abuse it. There are people who are caught drink flying manned aircraft. Pilots are caught doing that. So commercial pilots and things. So you can't say that any use of aviation is free from people doing wrong.
No, absolutely. And very quickly, thank you, Lawrence Novice, for the $5 super chat. Thanks for the support, Sean. Thank you, sir. Hashtag those guys. I really appreciate it. But we're always here to share the content of our fellow drone flies over the pond. So thank you very much for letting me share it, and thank you for the super chat. Very generous, sir. Yes, it's an interesting one because. Obviously, there was an awful lot of talk about this in the lead up, and there was a lot of discussion when it was going through its readings, etc., going through the House of Lords and everything else like that. And I suppose part of it has to be whether or not you trust the police essentially as an individual rather than even necessarily as a drone hobby and that type of thing. And my issue there from that point of view is that whether or not you've got specific powers and specific things that can happen. You kind of have to have that anyway, because people were still being arrested for flying their drone. People were still being prosecuted for illegal drone flight, etc., and that type of thing. And you will always have the same as you were saying. Even you get airline pilots that are stopped for drinking. You do get officers that are reprimanded for going beyond their powers, etc., and that type of thing. So, but overall,
that happens in any system in the world. So it's not it's either you cannot assume everything's black and white in the world. There is no utopia out there.
No, that's right. That's right.
So,
but I don't think that this, in my personal opinion, I don't think that this is something which has been brought into place to control the hobby and anything else like that. Everything when I've read through everything here, as far as the police power side of things, which of course is the absolutely essential side of it for the drone side of things, feels to me like they're actually talking about things from the point of view of being able to use these extended powers to stop criminality. And I think sometimes there's a miscomprehension of actually how much criminality, and I'm not talking about rogue drone flyers, just putting their Mini 2 up in the air and flying somewhere incorrectly. I'm talking about actual criminality that is as they've embraced every other kind of technology out there, they are also embracing drones, and therefore the regulatory system and the powers that the police have, in my opinion, have to be able to keep up with that. So much of the talk in this act, when I read through it, is very much talking about if this is happening, if that is happening, and on these grounds, etc. There doesn't seem to me to be these sort of flashlight moments of you can just have your a police officer is going to walk up to you in a field, is going to tell you to land the drone and take the drone away for absolutely no reason. There is nothing in here that shows that happening. It has to be, and really the removed perspective that this seems to give the powers for is if the operator is almost effectively supporting a criminal activity in their flight, but may not necessarily be breaking the air navigation order individually by doing so.
Yeah, I think the key thing is to summarize it. So if somebody stabbed you in the street and ran off into their house, would you want the police to be able to go off and search that house for the weapon to prove it was them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Prosecute them? Yeah, you would.
Absolutely.
Previously, police have not had that power. If, say, they could use a drone to commit an offence or hit you with a drone or anything like that, unless the police officer witnessed that happening, there was a very almost non-existent power of search of property where they haven't witnessed it. So if you just phone up and say, I've been hit by a drone, I'm not saying this happens all the time, just using comparison in terms of powers. So the fact that they can now search vehicles and stop and search for drones
Yes.
is a gap that there was, and there are some prosecutions I'm aware of that could have been prosecutions but couldn't because there was no power to go and look for the drone at the time of the offence. Therefore, there was no way to prosecute because the drone wasn't available for the prosecution, because in most cases, the CPS will want the drone data downloaded to prove that was the drone used in the offence, in the same way they download, vehicle travel logs and things for serious road traffic offences.
Absolutely.
So they can now obtain a warrant and also enter and search premises and things. And the key thing is they couldn't do that as much before. It depends on the severity of the offence and what the offence is. If it's a counter-terrorism offence, things change slightly. But these are for regular policing duties. So this is for regular people who are coming over, and a regular response constable coming up to deal with a drone incident. And we have had this gap of, it's just a technology gap where, this may look like Big Brother, this may look like the police overreaching. It's not. It's just they had a gap in their powers, and they have to update that because the technology changes.
Yes.
And there's a really good team in the National Police and counter drone and things who are aware of where drones are going more so now, and therefore a lot of this is written in especially by DFT and the drone team there to cover those gaps for the future. And remember, this is not a CA. The CA don't write this law. This is essentially nothing to do with the CA.
No, indeed. And also I want to clarify as well, you will find just as many videos on my channel criticizing police forces around the globe. I mean, the Michigan arrest coverage that we had there, which we've had hundreds of thousands of views on our videos of that coverage. So I'm not saying this because I'm necessarily, it sounds weird to say I'm pro or negative police, but I'm neither. They are the police force and I want them to do their job, frankly. And also, in my opinion, parts of this act and parts of how this can work will in certain ways draw a line between the hobby and the criminals, frankly. What you want is a separation between the criminal acts and the hobbyists who are doing things. Yes.
The problem is the Joe Blogs spreader in public will tar everyone with the same brush to a large extent.
Yes.
So you want the separation. That's what we need, is the separation between very criminal and very good. You don't drive up the motorway and look at every driver driving at 72 miles an hour and look their
no, indeed.
Every driving or anything.
Every step that they take, even if it is asking you to land your drone and everything else like that, it has to be in the investigation of the suspicion of something.
Yeah, but also you could get records of that. They'll have probably most likely for most forces have to have their body cam on, so that footage is accessible for you if you have to do anything in relation to it.
Yes, exactly.
They have to justify. It's the same as use of force. They have to justify their actions.
Yes,
and they'll have processes to do that.
And for them to do it incorrectly, there's so much paperwork that they're just not going to. It isn't necessarily something that again, it's very, very difficult. And perhaps I've lived under a rock and had a good experience of the UK police. I don't know, but there we go. Just very quickly, SC Ariel, Steve Carpenter, great to see you. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I keep a copy of our FAA regs on my table. Unfortunately, most law enforcement agents don't know the regs. Indeed. Sean, thank you for the excellent live stream, and thank you. One thing that's interesting, actually, I did reach out and I spoke to, let me check the actual number that actually responded. I spoke to 12 different serving police officers randomly on Twitter. I direct messaged them, and
you did verify they're real police officers, not just on Twitter.
I did.
Twitter, is anyone a UK police officer?
Yeah, no, they were either official police accounts or they were people that I verified that are police officers, and they tweet about the fact that they are, etc. There's a whole police Twitter out there, isn't there, which I've discovered, where there's the whole side of Twitter, which is the police and emergency services chatting.
They have their own awards for the police Twitters and things.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Devon and Cornwall been up for one for. I'm not sure if they won or not.
Yeah,
like there's a whole police social media awards show thing.
Well, I spoke to them and I asked a few questions, and one of the questions I asked is what will happen in terms of your personal interaction with drone flyers, etc. The vast majority, apart from those that were just I did get a couple that were don't know yet, we'll have to think about it. The vast majority,
I could probably name which forces those are, but
the vast majority actually responded with, we would contact our drone unit. And
see, that's the flaw.
Yeah.
So that's where the relationship between the drone flyers and the cops on the ground may become a bit more negative.
Yes.
We hope it doesn't. The MPCC and others are doing a lot of good work to try and avoid that. The issue becomes a lack of knowledge. Therefore, the police have to sort of cover all bases until they get that knowledge. The drone units are not 24-hour. Okay, sometimes they are, especially during certain periods. Most of them are not 24-hour in terms of, yes, they can respond to a police incident to fly a drone 24 hours, but a neighborhood constable saying, I need some help on a drone thing. If there's no one's on duty,
is this law legal or not?
That.
Exactly.
So the issue is, I know MPCC are looking at the training package available to all police officers nationally.
Okay.
Because that's the gap is, you don't want them to have to wait for a drone police officer. You don't want them to have to do that. They should know these powers a little bit, themselves.
Absolutely.
It will take time to do that because, you're training a brand new police officer about domestic abuse and all those sort of legislation issues and things and all the nuances of what they're going to go to. You will get to a time where they will train them for drone offences because it won't take that long because it's very, limited powers in what they are. But it's going to take time to filter through. You can't just change a national institution overnight, in terms of updating them with new details,
Indeed, and actually, we're talking about this is almost as if it was set up, but I promised the viewers it wasn't. But we have Kerry Blakeman in the chat, who's actually the person, one of the people that organised the Police Twitter Awards. I'd never even heard of it until Andrew just mentioned it, and now and hi Kerry, thank you for joining us.
They probably might need a host. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I've just connected with you on LinkedIn actually as I looked you up to kind of and again has a openly police connected Twitter account as well. It was really fascinating to see that actually, and the amount of our serving officers that are more than willing to have a public chat with people basically about their work and that type of thing. I think it's interesting. But there we go. I'm subscribed to the YouTube channels that actually just show the police cars in action and stuff. And is that very geeky?
I mean,
like
that's
when they capture the special convoys and things. Okay. I'm showing my true colours.
Sean's got a notepad. He writes down all the registration numbers of all the police cars. He's...
I would never infringe privacy like that. Crikey. Yeah. Please don't search my
that's
house.
the Volvo XC40.
Yeah. No. I could tell you models and things, but yes. So yes, and again, the power to enter and search premises is still again going to be something that's done under warrant, but it's specifically for people looking for unmanned aircraft.
But that's the same. That's the same to an extent in terms of certain offences where police need to enter premises. It's not just that that's a unique thing that has to be under warrant. Lots of offences need a warrant to enter a premises.
Yes. No, indeed. Exactly.
That's proactively, whereas the difference is reactively. Yes. Different things can happen if a crime is being commissioned or suspected of being commissioned.
Indeed. And the hovering shutterbug, who's one of our channel members, hi, good to see you, asked that do they have powers to inspect the content of SD cards or flight logs? They certainly. They're
just going to seize it.
Yeah,
they're just going to seize the whole thing.
One of these here actually says that they're able to seize anything that's relevant for as long as is relevant. So
it's going to be anything connected. So we've been involved in terms of where police have seized before. And there was one in London I remember quite vividly because it was a YouTuber, and they were very annoyed that their phone was being taken from them as well, because that was what the drone was connected to. So they've all got flight logs, they've all got proof of evidence. A general police officer cannot download that evidentially. There are special police units across the UK and nationally which will deal with the download of the drone.
There has to be a whole chain of evidence. Exactly.
So it's not going to be, we'll plug it into our laptop in the car and we'll download it. It's going to be probably 6 months.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And there is always from issues I've seen in the past with friends, etc. There's always a backlog, of course, because our police forces don't necessarily have an army of people.
Well, if you end up being unlucky enough to go to trial, that drone's staying until trial and appeals are heard.
No, indeed. And
evidence.
And this is again, as everybody knows, hopefully, Geeksvana is a very open place for us to come and have a chat about. It's why we've talked about things like UTMs before, and why we talk about so much drone regulation, etc. From the point of view that I want people to know what are the facts, what are my opinions, that type of thing as well. And I welcome all viewpoints. Everybody is welcome here. So again, I'm going to pick on someone in the chat that I've picked on before for this type of thing, but it isn't personal, and I know for a fact that they are more than open to debate and discussion as well. But GMI Visual says no lives have ever been lost to multi-rotor drones. So much unnecessary regulation. In the wider context, I'm not arguing with you about over-regulation of drones these days. I'm not necessarily arguing with you on that. My issue, and I completely respect that opinion. Honestly, I think I've respected that enough now, haven't I? Is that my issue with that is that this isn't necessarily what this is about. This isn't about trying to over-regulate the hobby and catch me with my Mini 2 flying, 5 feet outside of a park when I'm flying under an Article 16 authorization and then coming in the middle of the night and raiding my house. We've seen errors like that in the past, but that isn't necessarily what this is about. This is about helping to, in my opinion, from what I have read and from the advice that I've taken, this is about being able to remove the criminality who are using drones to more and more increasing effect. The reason, and that's the reason why in this act there is an entire section about prisons, and the word prison is probably one of the most common words through a lot of the enforcement parts of this, especially because that is what they're looking with this type of legislation to do. I will put my sort of name on the line a little bit here now as well and say I don't expect there to be a raft of sudden arrests of random hobbyists who were not breaking the law, who were not connecting criminality in some way or other form. I do not believe that this is going to be misused and have every drone hobbyist, have their drone confiscated for absolutely no reason. That's my personal opinion, rather than the fact of this act and from my interpretation of it. But I do still respect that opinion and respect that there is a part of the hobby that's also as well, especially the RC hobby, who for decades have had no issues whatsoever and do now feel extremely over-regulated. But this kind of thing I don't think is necessarily connected with that. It isn't about we're now going to enforce this act and therefore we're going to make the skies safer from that point of view. That's actually the CAA drone regulation. That's cap 722 that in my opinion, that's doing that. This side of things is more going after the criminality side of things, frankly. And as Andrew said earlier on, not to put words in his mouth, but making the enforcement powers match what they're actually trying to do specifically, so you don't get things falling through the grate.
I think the key thing is if you are a legitimate flyer and you're flying somewhere and you're disrupted by an illegal or illegitimate flyer, wouldn't you want the police to be able to deal with it?
Yeah. And there is the problem with these kind of debates as well is there is a fine line. And if this goes the wrong side of the fine line, I will be the first person with any kind of voice online who will be extremely vocal about any kind of issues from that point of view if it's seen that this becomes some kind of systematic issue, for sure. But we need to keep a separation between what's actually happening and the rhetoric, in my opinion.
But if the key thing is, if you look at the most recent case notified by the CAN and PCC, somebody has basically been banned from drones for life by a court.
Yes. They've
had their operator ID removed, their flyer ID removed. Basically, the judges said, on paraphrasing, they should not be involved in flying drones in the UK.
Yes. That was flying over one of these secret intelligence buildings, wasn't it?
If you say so.
MI5, MI6, in fact, I think. But yes.
Couldn't possibly comment, if you say so.
Yeah.
The key thing with that is it's not the police being judge, jury, and executioner, as the sensationalists and extremists in this community say. And again, I appreciate the RC flyer, but they're not the ones doing they're not the extremists being the complainers. The complainers are, quite frankly, a lot of the people who are newer to drones in the last 6 years and want a vocal mouthpiece for themselves to develop their own whatever agenda.
Yeah.
So I don't think they try and make out it's the originals who are being affected by this. The originals in the RC community aren't really talking that much about this compared to the people who are in drones, and quite frankly are mostly in drones as a hobby type thing, or they're not really there as a big enterprise. So it's just they're not the people who are going to be affected the most. But the key thing I'd say is, you want to be able to have things that got dealt with. The police are not judge, jury, and executioner. It's the court.
Yeah, and there is a system. There is a system that will back that up. Like anything that happens, and ironically, I'm saying this, and this weekend I am flying my Inspire Air 2S and Mini on separate projects. And ironically,
did you get your GVC?
Sorry,
Did you get your GVC? Did you? Or where did you do that?
You're looking for the fact that I'm getting paid work now for the fact that I did my A2 CofC and my GVC with Drone Masterclass. Link in description for your A2 CofC or GVC. But yes, doesn't Andrew look happy? The other Andrew. There we go. So yes, are you happy now? But yes, ironically, I'll probably have all of my equipment seized this weekend after saying this. But yeah, it isn't necessarily. I'm not expecting to see some kind of rash of that type of thing. Yes, I'm expecting to see more arrests and that type of thing. But whether or not they'll be picked up and sensationalized because that person was flying a drone, or whether because they were trying to drop drugs into a prison, might that there might be nuances there from that point of view.
And the one thing the drone community don't seem to appreciate whatsoever is being able to tell you things about certain incidents. So yes, some people have been arrested recently enough in the UK. Some people have been arrested where it's made the news. Some people have not been arrested where it's not made the news. So the key thing is the drone community are not entitled to know about every single arrest that happens. Just because they don't see arrests happening all the time doesn't mean they are.
Yes.
Or aren't. So the key thing is arrests do happen, drone offences are being dealt with, but as you would expect, if you were being accused of offence, until it's proven in a court, it's not going to be publicised around the world. And even if you look at the CEA approach,
yeah,
until it's been through a court and exhausted its opportunities there, they can't even tell you people who you are.
No, but you see the problem is, and GMI, thank you so much for all of the inputs you always give into these shows. I really do appreciate it. Where you're saying there wasn't any drone at Gatwick and those suspected received financial compensation, absolutely. And I actually have a video on Gatwick coming out next week, because it frustrates me the fact that the report that was promised to be released still hasn't been released on that, and it was an independent report, obviously, for Sussex Police on what happened, and even a redacted version or some kind of watered down version of that. So, which again would be attacked, of course, hasn't been released yet, and I do find that frustrating. So I do have a specific video coming out about that, because, and again, actually in the beginning of that video, not to give too much of that video away, I do talk about the fact that I don't talk much about Gatwick on my channel because I don't feel like there's been anything to talk about, if that makes sense. There's a lot of the two sides, the anti-drone people using it, overusing it, and even mentioning it in Parliament and everything else like that, as if it was a foregone conclusion. This happened, and drones are bad. And then obviously the other side of things that said that there was absolutely no chance of a drone being there. So in the middle there's not been much new actual hard information coming out. But this recent statement made by the couple, the Gates, who were wrongly arrested and raided by police for the in suspicion of the Gatwick incident. Their statement saying that they are still very disappointed in the fact that this report hasn't come out, I fully and wholeheartedly agree with. And that's part of the issue with this, because it is an emerging technology, and a technology which is very quickly growing beyond even necessarily what the early hobbyists thought it would. You do have all these different sides to it, and my issue is that I can't take just one side. I can't say, okay, because of the Gatwick incident, because of how that couple were handled, all police are bad. Or even the police in that situation were necessarily bad. I'm not saying anything necessarily on that point of view. But then, and I can't say they're all good. You have to, with each of the areas of this, you have to look at things. Cap 722, our sort of form of policy of regulation that we have to adhere to from the CAA. I don't have a massive issue with Cap 722. I think it's actually pretty good. But I actually wholeheartedly disagree with the fact that the RC flying community, so your scale helis, your fixed wings, etc., were pulled, especially those flying within club grounds, were pulled into the drone registration side of things. So I think that's part of the issue, is that we have arguments here where I would fall down on necessarily either side of the fence. There shouldn't need to be a fence, but either side of the fence. But that side of the fence differs on the particular subject matter, whether it's regulatory, police powers, drone registration, that type of thing.
I think, not going to comment on anything in relation to Gatwick, but you can't just, yes, you're right that you can't just say this is the side in general. You have to, I would take a view of, you have to treat individuals as they treat you, and that sort of thing, to an extent, in terms of both police officers and their forces in that respect. I've had very negative experiences in relation to drone offences with some police forces in terms of their attitude to dealing with offences. Some are very proactive, very good. It's very much a mixed bag, and it varies based on the shift on the area it's in, there's so many variables in that. So
yeah,
it's
one thing I think we do need a lot more work on, and I think when you look at people like Simon Dale, FPV UK, and other vocal activists within the UAV world, is actually we need a lot more positive images and a lot more positivity pumped into the media, so that the media do now have this kind of, and it is true, they do now have this little line where anything that comes up with drones, they'll always find a slightly evil and slightly wrong sort of connotation for that drone.
That's because that's a volume of stories. There's not a volume of positive stories, and they're not good enough to make the pages. Well, that's the problem, because most of them are nuanced industrial uses. Not, yeah,
but the problem. Well, I would argue against that slightly from the point of view that man saves woman from mugging does not get the headlines as woman mugged and stabbed, if that makes sense, for obvious reasons. So I think there are lots of positive drone things happening out there and lots of positive drone news stories, but they're not seen as the clickbaity, sensationalist sort of stories that certain publications online and even on
but you could also those publications. I mean, we all know what those publications are.
Yes,
and they do that. But every walk of life. It's not just drones. Every walk of life. So trying to change them is an uphill battle that you're never going to win.
Yeah.
The key thing is, once we get UTM and open up the skies a bit more, the positive use and benefit to daily life from drones will be the story.
Yeah, well, in actual fact, I think it will go one level beyond that it would almost become like I don't want to need to hold a smartphone up to say the word smartphone, as if no one knows what a smartphone looks like. But I think it will become like a smartphone, that drones will be everywhere. So drones will be, not, and I don't mean dropping off my pop socks and my pizza and that type of thing, but they will be used in a much wider way. You're going to
it'll be on your train. The other end. Yeah, it's going to fall off the other end.
Exactly. You'll be on a train to work, and you'll see a drone doing a survey of the bridge that your train goes over and things. That will be there by itself, beyond visual line of sight, surveying it. Perhaps it'll be one of the
hopefully
little
not in the context of that film.
Well, but perhaps it'll be one of the parrots. You never know.
It'll be the drone coming down the carriage covered in blood. Yeah. You're like, oh, here we go.
Do you mean that? What was that film? It's actually called The Drone, wasn't it?
It was called The Drone, wasn't it? Yeah, it was It's a very long battery life in that film.
I believe the trailer to that was actually made as a joke, But anyway, that's what I was previously told. But yes. Yeah, so I think drones will become a very much an accepted thing. But in the meantime, so we don't kill a hobby, and part of the problem is I want the young people coming into the RC hobby and into the drone hobby as well. I want them to be excited about it. I want them to be excited about building FPV drones and building scale helicopters and flying camera drones. How I started only a few years ago. You can say I'm a giant child. Certainly my other half Joanne might say that as well. But I want people to be excited about it. I don't want them to be put off by too much negativity out there.
But yeah, okay, you're talking about the media doing that, but what about the community? But what about those certain channels and those sort of Twitter accounts that just attack everything around them?
Yeah. I mean, again, I feel everybody is entitled to their point of view. I think that you have a certain type of audience that will always be attracted to certain types of people, and I think that people that watch my channel probably won't watch some of the other channels that have differing views and that type of thing. But I mean, more in the wider context of things, I think we need to see more organization and more output as far as the positive things that drones are doing and the positive news stories that are out there. I really think that could have a strong
in terms
impact.
Of the positive, the young people thing. I mean, one point to point out is we have a grant from the government to give A2 CofCs to a large number of young people aged 16 to 24 in North London and teach them how to fly drones. So we're doing that at the moment in terms of that. So that sort of stuff is becoming like, those are basically summer schemes. So the key thing with that is drones are now becoming part of summer scheme programs where like one of them's football, one of them's other like computer related stuff, whereas now drones are part of that and they're training young people. So yeah, I get the comments in the chat about the red tape and stuff. That's a psychological view. there isn't that much red tape if you actually put, yes, you need a little bit of money to do that, and this grant helps those people in North London do it, but there isn't really that much red tape to start flying drones, especially the Mini 2.
Yeah, no, I especially the Mini 2, and I do agree with you there. I think you're coming at it from a slightly different angle with your professional background, though, and your average pure hobbyist would still see it as hurdles and as things which they need to achieve.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying the government are now funding programs to get people using drones at a young age. They don't have to, but they are. That was their idea.
Yeah.
So
which again is a good news drone story which needs publicizing, which needs putting out there, but also the amount of you've
under your teens involved, therefore it won't be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reality of things.
Indeed.
In the woke culture.
So I've put a link in the chat to this act, and I will also put a link in the description after the show, as I just realized I didn't do that, which was would have been rather helpful. But again, as I say, in my opinion, when you look through this in detail, it is assisting a specific enforcement. I think that even if you had an officer that said, okay, I'm going to misuse this, some kind of cartoon character, I'm going to misuse this to stop all these pesky drone flies in my neighborhood. I don't actually think this necessarily helps that, because again, it has to have the usual levels of scrutiny.
But just remember, they have to body cam for the most part. Most forces body cams now. They have to body cam this. They have to record it. Unless you're doing something wrong, it's very hard for them to actually deal with you in a negative context deliberately, because if you're not doing anything wrong, how can they even body cam that you've done something at all to justify it? It has to be like, you've been watching too many episodes of crime thrillers, quite frankly.
Is there a flexibility to the word, because that's one of the it's kind of one of the things that I have no issue with in my own brain. If you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to worry about. Type of scenario, I have no issue with that. However, I wonder if there is flexibility in that context of, is someone doing something wrong, if that makes sense. I wonder if there's flexibility there from the point of view that
there will always be flexible in terms of
what is
the operator may
wrong.
Perceive they're not doing something wrong, but the police may perceive they are.
Yes.
That could be genuine on both sides. That does not mean they won't have their drone seized or anything, because that will be the police's go-to method of preserving evidence, because they can't go, well, on the balance of probabilities, I don't know you, therefore, I'll let you away with it. They have to potentially investigate and seize evidence. That's their job. I mean, they're police.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, there will always be the times where there's a disagreement of opinions in terms of something if it is lawful or not. That doesn't mean the police can just walk away and go, well, fair, it's 50-50. No, they still have their job to investigate. That's what gets people's backs up, because they believe wholeheartedly they're in the right. But if I had £1 for every time a drone pilot who was arrested or was had stuff seized said they were in the right and ended up being found not in the right, I'd be very, very rich.
You'd be very, very rich. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Well, that's it for the subject for this evening. We will actually be quite soon having an actual barrister coming on the channel on the live streams to talk to us about this particular issue. But
is
also,
that your police officer, a fake police officer for him dressed up as a barrister this time?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's Chris in his pseudo judge's outfit to look like a barrister. Yeah, no, indeed, we're actually having an actual barrister who actually does run a YouTube channel himself, actually. Daniel, and he'll be coming on to talk to us about this, but also privacy as well, because privacy is one that I really do want to get from the horse's mouth, as it were, from the legal institution sort of viewpoint on that, which I think would be very, very interesting. So there will be more on this particular subject coming up very soon, and I think it's time for another palate cleanser. This is from a viewer video from Andy Bowen, also known as Rusty Barnett on YouTube, and this is actually Saltburn by Sea. So enjoy this one. It's just a quick video. Excellent. Another really good viewer video. Thank you very much for allowing us to show that, Andy Bowen. Rusty Barnett, link in the description to his channel. The little sort of they weren't cable cars, were they?
It's funicular. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so. It was really interesting, wasn't it? Sort of, because it obviously is quite a cute hill. I'd love to have a little go in those. They're very cool.
Oh, it started. Oh, it's finished. It's like the smallest hill in the world.
The thing would like you'd hear the motor start, then it would just stop. Although perhaps it might even be some kind of, would it be some kind of gravitational thing?
Did anyone notice that Sean is a master with video production because he segued and the drone flew over a police officer in a police car?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Coming back to the chat. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's been an interesting evening, and I love having this kind of debate, and it will continue. And we will be keeping a very close eye on how things move forward as well. Tim Cowell, if the CAA give police more control over regulating drone operation, it stands to reason that any officer enforcing those regulations should be up to date with said regulations. Interesting.
First of all, not the CAA. You're getting the wrong end of the stick. It's DFT. Deal with that. So the CA are working together with the Police and Operation Forever Wing to share data and to help each other. But in terms of that, sorry,
it's for you.
I know who that is. I know who that is as well because there's one of my staff.
Yeah,
and he knows that we're on the channel. He deliberately starts working in the office. It's happened 3 times previously, so I know who you are.
Who is it? So I can send them a Christmas card. You'll have to tell me later.
It's someone you've met.
Is it him? Is it?
Yes.
Is it someone that
someone that sat in a wooden booth?
Game of Thrones?
No, it's the person who sat in the booth.
The booth person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's he's obviously worked at I'm on live because he did this. He's done this twice before.
I'm watching.
He who should not be named.
He who should not be named. I thought you were a nice guy, but okay.
Yeah. So so in terms of the DFT things, DFT set the legislation. It's up to them to say who enforces what to an extent. The CA are working with them. Funnily enough, I think I have a Facebook message from that person now. So I think they're relishing in it. But it's up to DFT to deal with that, not anyone else.
Yes, exactly. No, indeed.
So DFT sort of DFT put out the legislation. They will work with the police. There's a very good drone unit in the DFT who work directly with the police, especially MPCC counter drone in terms of the drone offensive side of things. The MPCC are putting the training program out nationally in terms of upskilling police on that basis, and they're the sort of ownership of that to an extent. But yeah, it's not everyone just always says
but the principle,
it really winds me up when people think, oh, it's the CA doing everything. It's not. It's really there's an ecosystem.
Which I mean that is the thing about the government doing everything, isn't it? When it's its branches off. But the principle of it that if whoever is actually pushing these powers down to a police force, that the police force, the individual officers should know enough about that regulation to be able to enforce it, is, I can understand it, but it's also a difficult one because how you would have to basically have trained barristers as every police officer.
I've seen comments not on the stream and in other sort of channels where there's an assumption that the CA go to the police, oh, look at this operator, go and have a look at them, go give them a poke, find them flying. It does not happen.
They don't.
It's not happen. That does not happen. That's why I get quite annoyed when people are saying, the CA will tell the police to go and do this or whatever, and they'll hand stuff off to the police. That is not the way the relationship works whatsoever.
Yes,
they will work together on certain things, and especially for pre-planned or to deal with like the case you've seen come up recently in terms of the stuff in London. But there's no vendettas, there's no vindictiveness. It is the DFT setting the law. It's the DFT essentially working with Home Office for police to say this is what the police should be doing. I mean, it's the DFT that essentially took open and gave it to the police rather than the CA, other than from the training perspective, A2. So, the police are solely responsible for enforcing open category, not the CA.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. Snapshot drones is an interesting one, actually, at Geeksvana. Would it not be a good idea to have meetups with the police drone unit so they can become part of the drone community? I do agree with that, but they actually, if you follow a few of the police drone units on Twitter, they actually do have open, even more open meetups
West
with the
Midlands,
community.
especially at the moment. West Midlands are on a. I imagine they have an unlimited budget for drones at the moment because of the Commonwealth Games. They are on a huge PR campaign, and they're like in every. It doesn't annoy me, but it's just like they're in every park in Birmingham and Coventry in that general area. Like if you look at their Twitter account, they're always in a park talking to people and showing the drone,
which is good,
which is
obviously
100% fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you want to go meet them, go and do that.
No, exactly, and it's a good thing that again they'll put on Twitter tomorrow we're at this park. Come and have a look at the drones. Come and have a talk to us and that type of thing. But I think it would be nice to see a step further than that, or maybe a step further back than that, of them actually meeting up with the hobby more as well, which might be something which we have a look at in the future. I think that has legs, frankly, in my opinion. So okay, excellent. So coming up on Geeksvana, we have a lot more recorded content coming out. We had our first recorded video yesterday for the first one for about 3 weeks now. Actually, we've got some more coming out tomorrow, and pretty much every weekday for the next few weeks, you're going to see something coming out from Geeksvana on different types of subjects. Which actually includes more on the drone rules side of things. I've got a video which we've just finished editing on what to do if people approach you whilst you're flying your drone, which for the UK, the fact that we're flying our Mini 2s in a lot more sort of congested areas and around a lot more people is certainly starting to happen to me a lot more than it ever used to. So there's a bit of an advice video with some free downloads.
Sure that's not your YouTube fame?
With some free downloads there. I've only ever been recognised twice for my YouTube fame so far. Once was at Belfast Airport, actually. And I thought I was about to be arrested, but she was actually just saying, "Hey, you're the guy with the drones, aren't you?" It was actually what the very nice lady said to me, Jonathan's wife. And I was like, "Oh, me? I thought I'd done something wrong checking my drone in, but there we go." It's like, my Inspire, where is it? So we've also got some really cool project that we're working on over the next few weeks and couple of months. Next week we've got a couple of very exciting live streams happening, including a live demonstration of a tactical drone, which from Brink, which is going to be working with SWAT teams around the world to improve safety and outcomes, which I'm really looking forward to. Actually, it's a tactical drone that can actually smash windows to help breach into a house, and it's got all sorts of turtle modes and things, so it gets knocked out of the air. It's got the thermal cameras. And
I really hope that they got a product placement in the last series of Brooklyn Nine-Nine with that. Yes. Andy Samberg has to fly that, like J Pro has to fly that in their building.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That completes the Die Hard
saga
within Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That has to happen.
Yeah,
if it hasn't, I'll be exceptionally
we should campaign
annoyed.
For it.
A bit late now. They wrapped like a week ago, but okay.
But hey, we could do like a one-off marketing campaign with it.
NBC, can you please bring Brooklyn Nine back for maybe one episode, just so we can get this drone in?
Yeah, so we can get the Brink Lima drone in there. So yes, we'll be joined by Angad for that on Thursday of next week, which I'm really looking forward to.
River Mercy said, "My drone can smash windows, but only once." It's the same as, do you remember the Inspire 2 in LA crashing into the building? I mean, lots of drones can do what they say they're doing, but right.
But to actually continue flying afterwards. Hi, River Mersey, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're very well. But yes, and again, anyone that's still with me, I've noticed the likes starting to creep up towards the end of the show. I really do appreciate it. Of the nearly 80 people still watching, could I ask a huge favor? I don't usually ask this kind of thing, but would you mind smashing the like button? You are the awesome people that watch my videos all the way to the end. You're the awesome people that are still listening to me wittering along an hour and a half after going live, and I really, really do appreciate you guys. You're absolutely fantastic people, all of you. And I love the fact that we have such a varied community. We have people with such different opinions, and we all meet up on this channel and chat, which is exactly what I want it to be. Frankly, I don't want it to just be a.
I think if we get past 70 likes, if we get past 70 likes, I think you should confirm a date for a drunk stream. Okay.
Well, in fact, I think I can confirm that anyway, to be fair.
No, don't.
Yes, we are going to be having, as Andrew calls it, the drunk stream. But I'm trying to set it up for the 17th of July, which will actually be a Saturday, and we'll be running from midnight in the UK, and we're going to be calling it Geeksvana After Dark. And we're going to be having all sorts of special. Emily's going to be co-hosting. We're going to be all sorts of special people coming in and appearing for it. We're going to be reacting to the first videos of other drone channels. So we're going to be watching their first videos, etc. Some memes and some funny videos and that type of thing, all the time whilst steadily having a couple of drinks. So there'll be no drone flying live on that one for sure. But yes, it's going to be very important.
If you last all the way into the morning sunrise,
yeah,
I'll be in a field in somewhere in the UK. And I could come in with a live sunrise fieldy misty shot.
That'll be a long time to stay live though. If I'm starting at midnight,
you're starting at midnight. It's not that long. It's like 4 hours. Well, probably 5.5 hours. But yeah,
we've been going an hour and a half tonight. And that feels like a long time to me. So I'm not sure I'll make that.
I'm supposed to be alcohol.
I'm supposed to be doing like a 24-hour live charity stream at some point, but I'm not sure how I'm ever going to pull that off these days. I'm not as young as I used to be. That's all I can say.
Is that the Vernon telethon?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, perhaps I can have Vernon in the live chat to
if you donate £1 today, you can help build a drone.
No, indeed. But as I say, thank you very much everyone for being here. Andrew, thank you for being the co-host. Thank you for being the sponsor. I think we should press that button one more time. Drone Masterclass, book your A2 CofC or GVC now. There is a link in the description. And genuinely, I do appreciate Drone Masterclass partnering with us. It helps us in so many different ways. So I would appreciate it if you guys could go along, and if you're interested in those courses, hit them up.
And there's some new courses shortly as well.
Excellent. Can you give us any details of those yet?
Yeah, they'll be on the website soon.
Okay. And could you provide any more further details of the actual courses
themselves? Like the syllabus?
Yeah.
There's a congested area course, which is very cheap and gives you the information you need to know about for flying in congested areas, because we think some courses aren't maybe the best value for money. So we wanted to do a cheap one that gives you all the details you need to know.
Okay.
And there's the first ever one featuring me.
No.
Well, yeah. And that is the spotter course.
Oh, excellent. That's superb. Mm-hmm. And that's how to become a spotter in the drone industry type thing. Is that's the training for that. That's and it also
includes how to not get rugby tackled to the ground when you're flying drones.
Will you be demonstrating that physically?
A little bit, yeah.
Excellent. Oh, I look forward to that one.
And it's ridiculously cheaply priced. It's like $19.99, so it's like it's worth it for the laugh.
How much is the congested area course? Do you know yet?
We don't know, but it also has a top up where you can come with us flying in a congested area.
Oh, cool.
So that's just so you get the theory bit of what you need to know and what you
can
need
I pay extra not to go with you in a flying in a congested area?
I mean, you can pay me for you not to come with me. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, that was a good joke. Thank you, River Mersey. Thank you very much for the £1 super sticker with the cool sunglass emoji. I really appreciate it, sir. It's good to see you. Actually.
And if you come in the congested area course, we do it in London. One of them is in London. There's lots of cities that are going to be covered. And there's speaking of trains, because we spoke about trains earlier.
We did.
There's a pub in East London which I love, which has a train that goes through the beer garden.
Oh, very cool.
So we can go there after the course.
So with the congested area one, there's going to be lots of, I presume, sort of Article 241 analysis and that type of thing. And I presume that'll be helpful for people like flying Mini 2s and that type of thing.
Obviously, we have a 5 meter permission for flying in congested areas and things with our drones. So yeah, you're basically learning from our experience and giving you bits to understand. And then a lot of that, there's a lot of nuanced stuff. A lot of the nuanced stuff where you want to ask questions. That's why we give you the option of, but that's why we want to make cheap courses. We want to make you a cheap course. You get basic information you need to know for doing certain things.
Yeah,
and then if you feel like you want to come and essentially drain our knowledge off us in person,
yes.
You can then top up and come down. Even with the top up and things to come in person, it's still way cheaper than anything else out there, because information should be freely available as much as possible. Obviously, there's a cost to us to doing that. That's why we do charge, but it's not hundreds like other people. It's tens of pounds, because
excellent. I look forward
we
to
want people
it.
to be able to go and do this. We were talking about trying to enable people. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, no, indeed. That's good. I genuinely didn't know what those two courses were going to be, actually. I think I'd be interested to do the spotter one as well, actually, because I think that'll be quite an interesting video for Geeksvana, actually. Become a spotter. Become a professional spotter.
But that's the ecosystem that people forget about. Is some people won't be able, but some people won't be able to afford to buy a drone, or a decent one at least. But they want to get in and sort of start making a little bit of money and stuff, and they don't know how to get in. Whereas if you can come in, there's some things that will be announced in relation to who's accepting our spotters course for being a spotter for them, sort of things. There's a few things in the background, but if you want to be a spotter, that's a stepping stone in for a young person, especially someone who's 16, 17, 18, who can't afford it for be their full-time job. They could get a part-time job because people in like major cities need spotters to comply with what they have to comply with. So creating this sort of it's not a database of spotters, but basically creating people who are already partly trained. Obviously, they need to be trained in your exact how you do it in terms of your ops manual.
And we're talking about
train to people who have passed a test.
Yeah.
By people who have done that, it helps you justify that person is going to be helpful to you on the ground and not just a random.
Exactly. And we're talking about spotters in commercial operations, of course. So people that are helping with larger scale operations and that type of thing, rather than someone that's then going to be an FPV spotter for his mate down the field or something. But yes. Because there is because obviously there's the health and safety side of things as well, isn't there, to be able to say that you've passed that test, which is good. Excellent.
That's why we teach you how not to get rugby tackled on a pavement in London.
That's superb. I can't wait for that one in person. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. I really do appreciate it. We will see you next week for the SWAT drone live stream, which I'm very excited about. And keep an eye out for lots more content happening on Geeksvana.
Can I try something before we go?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Go on then.
Alexa, phone. Sorry, it's an
that was a very inside
Stephen,
joke. Yeah, for Stephen there. Luckily, I've got things on my ears, so no matter what name he then said, it wouldn't have worked. And as I will leave you with the final word from Stephen, who is our co-host from Scotland in Finland. Who can't be with us this evening, but is watching by the side of a beautiful lake. I think the last word in the chat that he said was tequila.
Tequila.
Yay. Let's go have some. Tequila. I think we missed our point there, didn't we?
Wrong tune, but
Tequila.
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 Tequila.